Hi friends, Krista here. Thank you so much for stopping by Books and Jams. It is time today to go over some of my 5-star predictions. Yay! Every couple of months, my friends Sarah from Sarah's Nightstand and Lindsay from Lindsay's Little Library do a round of 5-star predictions. And towards the end of June, they invited Amanda from the Curly Reader and I to join them because the four of us, known as the BookTube Besties, we have a Christmas book exchange that we have been doing together for a couple of years. We decided to choose one book that was gifted to us by each of the other 3 people that we thought might be 5 stars, and then read them and then come back and tell you what we thought. So here I am coming back with the 3 books that I chose from Sarah, Amanda, and Lindsay. And I will let you know what I thought of them. So I do have The Art of Racing in the Rain by Garth Stein. This is from Sarah. I have Old Heart by Peter Ferry, and this is from Amanda. And then I have The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, and this is from Lindsay. I predicted that each of these books would be 5 stars. And a couple months ago, I gave you my reasons why. And now I'm here to tell you that I was wrong. I was really wrong. Oh boy. We'll start with Amanda's book because I actually DNF'd this one. I made it 104 pages into the Old Heart and decided I just can't. This is a story of an elderly gentleman. He's 85, Tom. Tom, at the very beginning of the book, it was a little bit confusing at the beginning, but we quickly learned that Tom has jetted out of town. He left town. He left his daughter and his son are trying to get him to go into a retirement home. His body is slowly failing. His mind is slowly failing, but he does not. He refuses. He is not going to get put into an old folks home. Like, he just does not want any part of that. They did have another sibling who passed away recently, and we just start to learn about Tom and his life. It's kind of, I thought, going to be a curmudgeon story. He's a little bit on the cranky side, and where he goes when he leaves town is to the Netherlands. He was stationed there during World War II and had a relationship with a young Dutch girl, Sarah, and he is just traveling over there to see if by any chance he can find this woman and what happened to her life and just kind of learn about her life. All of these things sound wonderful to me. I love a curmudgeon story. I love World War II stories. I love him going off to find a lost love. It had so many potential elements that seemed to be something I would absolutely love. However, this book was very dry. There was deep descriptions of things that I just did not care about. The son and the daughter, we didn't get a fully fleshed out relationship from them, but they were just kind of mean. I really didn't like the son and the daughter, and that's fine because we're really following this old guy. A lot of curmudgeon stories that I've read have an element of humor in them, and I think that's something that I like about it. It just endears this older person to my heart, and I just love them and want to root for them. There was no humor in here whatsoever. There was not, it wasn't very emotional at all. It was very flat, the 100 pages that I did read. I think this is even being narrated by one of the granddaughters, Nora. She's the narrator of the whole thing because Tom did have a close-ish relationship with Nora, and she's the only one that knew where he went and why he was going there. There was zero emotion in any of this. I wasn't laughing. I wasn't connected to these people. I didn't care about it at all, and it was very dry. So I made it 100 pages in, and I just decided it's going to be a DNF. So I'm adding this to my Pango Books pile. I am not going to keep it. Sorry, Amanda. It was a good choice because there were so many elements of this that felt like it would be a Krista read. It just wasn't fitting for me. I do see now that there's a pink Adirondack chair. That's a part of the story as well. Yeah, I feel like for all the detail and description that was there, we weren't really getting it about the characters and their personalities. There was no personalities to these people. I don't know. It just didn't work for me. And speaking of didn't work for me, are you ready for unpopular opinion? Okay, but are you really surprised? I am not an animal person, and I am not in particular a dog person at all. This story, The Art of Racing in the Rain, is told from the perspective of a dog. I have never had a dog. My family, at one point, I wasn't living at home. They did have a dog for a little minute, like a couple of years, I think. It didn't work out so well for my family, and I never lived at home during that time period. I was already grown and out of the house. I just never learned to care about pets. We were not a pet family. So the fact that this was told from the perspective of a dog had me rolling my eyes so many times, especially at the beginning as I was getting used to the writing style and the vibe of the book. I just couldn't do it right off the bat. I tried listening to it on audio to see if that would help. I tried reading it in print. Neither one was really working for me. I think I ended up doing a mixture of the two. The second main thing that didn't work for me is that our main character, the guy, I think Denny is his name, the owner of the dog, the main owner, the one the dog is bonded with especially, is a race car driver. Another area of which I have no care. I couldn't care less about race car driving. And there was so much of this book that was focused on racing and metaphors about how you race and life, and it was a huge theme all the way through. So many people love this book, and so many people told me that I was going to cry. I didn't even well up with tears, my friends. I just didn't care. I did think the family story, Denny and his wife and their daughter, there were elements of that story that I did really like. So I think I ended up giving this 3 stars because I finished it, number 1, and there were elements that I liked, but I really don't like stories written from a dog's perspective, and I really don't care about race car driving. So this was kind of a fail as well. 3 stars. Like, I finished it. It was okay. Would not read it again. I'm not keeping this one on my shelves either. Sorry, Sarah. But then we have The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This was gifted to me by Lindsay from Lindsay's Little Library. We don't have a winner because I did not give it 5 stars, but I gave it 4 stars and I really enjoyed it. I read this with one of my patrons and friends, Destiny. We had a really good time talking about it all the way through. That always helps, I think. This is a story of Avery, who is a high schooler. She's super smart, like beyond smart, to the point where some of her principal and teachers think that she's cheating. She's not. She's just really, really smart. Very good at games. Plays chess with a homeless man in the park all the time. Just a really cool person. I really enjoyed Avery in this story. Avery learns right near the beginning that she's been named in the will of this billionaire in Texas, that she has no clue who this guy is. She has to go to Texas and be present for the reading of the will, where he leaves basically everything to her. She has to live in the house for a year with the family before she can receive ownership or whatever of the inheritance. There are a ton of puzzles and games in here. Of course, there's a lot of drama with the family that are not thrilled that they've been disinherited. There are 4 brothers in the Hawthorne family, and each of them are very distinct and very suspicious. I was so suspicious of them. The older one has a bit of a savior complex, always kind of rescuing people and wanting to save them. The middle 2 there's a bit of a love triangle between Avery and the middle 2 at different times. Not to the point where it was like, oh my gosh, another love triangle. It wasn't that bad, but there was a hint of that in there. And then the youngest one was brilliant and like goofy, and I never knew if I could trust his goofiness. Was he just being silly and goofy, or was he manipulating everything? I don't know. So I really enjoyed the 4 brothers and Avery's relationship with them. The reason that it's 4 stars for me and not 5 is because there was quite a bit of the stereotypical, if you will, YA angst, teen angst in this book. A lot of melodrama, and I didn't love that. I didn't care as much. As I was reading it, I was very invested in the story, but by the end I was like, okay. Okay. But I'm very eager. I picked up book 2 from the library. It's sitting on my library pile over there right now. I'm very excited to dive in during series September into book 2. And I'm definitely keeping this. I think it's going to be a fun series. I think there are 3. Is it a trilogy? I think the 3rd one is coming out this fall. So I'm eager to read book 2 and then see what I think from there. But I really enjoyed this. Very fun. So 2 kind of flops, Old Heart and The Art of Racing in the Rain. One that I really loved but wasn't quite 5 stars. So altogether, I'm glad that I read some of my Christmas Book Exchange books because that's one of my goals for the year. And now I have 3 more that I've completed. I have 2 that I can try to sell on Pango. They're going in the pile. And 1 that I liked. There you have it. Are you surprised? Are you not surprised? What do you think? I love 5-star predictions. I have 1 more sitting right there. Jefferson's Sons is kind of a priority. Once I finish that, I have 5 books that I predicted would be 5 stars that I can tell you about as soon as I finish Jefferson's Sons. But yeah, and then I'll be able to do another round, hopefully, and finish before the end of the year. We'll see. That's going to be it for today. I would love to chat with you down in the comments. What did you think about my thoughts and opinions on these books? Were you surprised or not? What's the latest book that you gave 5 stars to? I would love to hear that. It's always a great way to get some new recommendations. Check out other people's comments as well. Maybe add some things to your TBR from the comments. I love talking with you down there. It's the most fun thing for me. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I look forward to talking with you in another video very soon. Bye.